Okay guys, I am back. So I'm Catherine, this is Little Bits of Heaven Homestead. Goats, if you're looking for peace of mind, goats will not bring that to you. They kind of get you thrown off into some crazy tangents and total distractions. I adore my goats. I'm glad that they're part of my homestead. Definitely hard for me to focus when I am in the midst of goats. So for those of you who were with me earlier, I milked my girl Tootsie. So this is kind of like part 2 of this video. So I've got her all milked out. I left enough for her babies. In fact, with goats, they usually won't, if they have kids on them, they won't release their milk fully. They'll always hold some back. So it's almost near to impossible to fully milk them out when they have kids that are continuing to nurse on them. And honestly, I'm not looking for tons and tons of milk. I use it primarily for making soap. I do make some goat milk cheeses. That's really the extent of my goat milk usage. I'm not a huge milk drinker. My family's not huge milk drinkers. I'll occasionally use it in my coffee, but what I really like is heavy whipping cream. So even though I have these milk goats on my property, it's really my primary use is for making soap. So I wanted to show you the actual process of filtering it. You do need some tools on hand. This is the exact same funnel that I used to filter into the milk bucket when I was out there milking. It does have this ring that slips inside of it. And I do buy filter papers. So this is, and I forget where I got these from. I think I got these from Jeffers Pet. There's specific goat milk supply houses where you can buy them. The importance on this one was the size. I needed this 4 9/16 size to fit inside. You can use bigger filters, but it's kind of a waste. So the ring goes on here, and then it just drops down into the center here. And I tend to filter all my milk twice, 3 times if I have some concerns about it. Tonight I'm going just into mason jars. Nice thing about this is it sits directly onto the mason jar. I do have, oh, I'll grab it. It's in my fridge right behind me. Hold on, I'll show you in a second. I do have these really cool, it's hard to see, glass milk jars that say goat milk. And these came from, I think it's Caprine Supplies. These are really neat, but in order to get my filter to sit into them properly, I need another funnel because the mouth on it is a little more narrow. So I do like these wide mouth mason jars to filter directly into because it's real stable. So off-grid lifestyle, welcome. So yeah, I love mason jars. I use them for tons of stuff, and this is one of my favorite uses. So I have my goat milk pail that I milked into that you guys, if you didn't see earlier, I did a video maybe 15-20 minutes ago on how to milk a goat. So this is the second part of that. I've got her milked out, I brought it in, and so now I'm going to filter it. And really this is like a 30-second video. It's really not that hard, so as long as you've got your tools. So you can use a coffee filter. I have used a coffee filter before. That was asked of me on the last video. My issue with a coffee filter is it gets plugged up easily. There's a lot of fats in the milk salt, well, I guess it's milk solids, and it plugs up coffee filters really fast. And so sometimes it would take my milk like an hour or 2 just to filter through. I never felt real good about that because one thing with goat milk, so Jennifer says, yay, twice in one night. Yay, thanks for joining me again, Jennifer. So one thing about goat milk is people will complain about the fragrance and or the taste of it, and they say it tastes kind of goaty. And I don't know how to describe that goaty flavor, but one thing you can do to help prevent that and circumvent it is to chill it as fast as possible. So if you bring it in and you sit it here and you let it filter for an hour, that can contribute to some funky odor and flavor. So what I like to do is I like to use these specific filters. I feel like it's worth the investment. I bought like 200 of them maybe a year ago, and if you're using 2 a day, and if you're milking every single day, you wouldn't, I mean, even at 200, that's 100 days worth, and so you've got quite a long supply. So you'll see how fast this goes through these specific filters. And that is one advantage of paying for them versus using the coffee filters. So Tootsie is a La Mancha. She might be a La Mancha mix, I'm not sure. I pay for very few of our livestock, and in fact I found that livestock comes out of the woodwork, and Tootsie was given to me. She was given to me while in milk, and then not related as far as blood as far as I know, but a sister goat of hers that was on the same property came to me about a year later. So Tootsie makes about 3/4 of a gallon-ish a day for me. And that's if I'm milking her every day. I normally let her kids have her, and I just milk her at my own convenience. The other goat that came to me is also a La Mancha mix. She produces 2 gallons a day, which is just insane. So there you go, guys. Ta-da! Filtered raw milk. So that's really all there is to it, you can see. Beautiful. So, and then I will use this most likely. So Jennifer says 2. Yeah, my girl Alice makes 2 gallons a day. And if you want to be swimming in milk, 2 gallons a day will do it. As I was having to get real creative on what we did with our milk at that point. If you do have an overabundance of milk, things you can do, and this is how I use most all of my milk, is I pour it into ice cube trays, and then I freeze it for later use. You can save them for babies down the road, and I did have this experience this year, is I had one of my does, she had her kids, and then 2 days later passed away. And so one of the best things you can do is have goat milk from your own herd on hand, frozen, ready to go. And so if you do have an abundance, I would highly recommend you hold some back for just emergencies. If you don't use it for emergencies, you can always thaw it. You can use it for cheese. And my preferred method for using up any abundance of milk is to make soap with it. And I love goat milk soap. So if you guys are interested in supporting our channels, as somebody asked earlier, you can find us on Etsy at Dirt Patch Heaven. I do try to provide a link down below. If you want to support us through shopping through Amazon, you don't necessarily have to buy anything from our Amazon store, but if you click on the link, it's just kind of a thank you for funneling you to Amazon, kind of like you would do any other fundraising link. It costs you nothing extra, but it does throw a percentage or two our way. So I hope that you got something of value out of this. It's really easy peasy, so once you get an animal in milk, you can keep yourself in an abundance of milk relatively quick and easy. Once I got the hang of milking, it takes me about 5 to 10 minutes to milk out Tootsie at her about 3/4 of a gallon a day. When I'm doing Alice and her 2 gallons, her bag is so big that I can only milk one side at a time. And so she takes me more like about 40 minutes. So do keep in mind that it is a commitment. You can't neglect it. If you're not doing a kid share and it's just you milking, it is a 1 to 2 times a day minimum. So I don't plan on taking long vacations if you have an animal in milk, because it is something that you do need to keep on top of. If you're not milking daily, they can develop something called mastitis, which is an infection in either side of their teats, which can potentially be deadly. So do keep that in mind, that if you do get an animal and you do plan on milking, it is a commitment. So, and what has worked best for me is doing a kid share. So I keep my kids on my does, and then I just pen them overnight or during the day, whenever it is that works best for my schedule. And then the rest of the time I allow her kids to continue to nurse. Goat kids will nurse for 6-7 months if you let them. And so your window of milking isn't necessarily teeny tiny. It's Tootsie, well actually all my girls had their goats. So Off-Grid Lifestyle says, it's really nice seeing you always with a smile. Oh, thank you. So I appreciate you guys joining me. It's really fun to have friends pop on and have conversations with me while I do this. So, so my kids right now that are on my goats are currently, they were born first week of December, so they're almost 4 months old, and I'm still getting about 3/4 of a gallon a day, so her milk supply is keeping up, even though she should be coming towards the end of her window. I have heard kids nursing up until a year old. I haven't necessarily seen my own kids on my goats nursing that long, but I could definitely see where it would be a possibility. So you can make milking an animal as easy or as hard as you want on yourself if you're willing to share with kids. So that's my tidbit of wisdom on milking and filtering. I hope you got something of value out of this. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so. And if you feel so inclined, please like and share. I do appreciate it. And thanks for joining me again tonight. So, oh, Jennifer says always, thank you for sharing. You're so welcome. Thanks for joining me. I hope you guys have a great one. I'll talk to you later. Bye.